If you want to learn about money and how to manage it, one of the channels you're inevitably going to stumble upon is the Money Guy Show. These guys have made such an effective use of long-tail SEO to monetize their channel, as well as create new opportunities for their business and continue scaling it over the last few years. So in today's video, we're going to be digging into exactly what their SEO strategy is on YouTube, as well as in other platforms. And then we're going to dig into how they're monetizing their channel to help them not only scale their business, but do it while working on their passion. Digging right in, the first thing we need to do is take a look at the Money Guy Show as a whole. Right off the bat, we can tell that they have 205,000 subscribers and that they have some core themes behind their content. Specifically, they have a regular show kind of similar to the Dave Ramsey Show, in which they're answering common questions that people are writing them about money. But aside from that, you'll also see that they have found ways to repurpose content and create smaller bites of content in their catalog. They have something called hashtag Ask the Money Guy that also is part of the show, as well as a highlight reel, trending highlights, top trending episodes, Financial Advisor Reacts, which is a common format to content on YouTube. I'm sure you've seen other creators that have created Reacts content before. And then they also have things around money habits by age, top 10 playlists, and things like that. So right off the bat, the first thing you should learn about the Money Guy Show and their long tail SEO strategy is that once you have found something that works, you need to double down and continue to create content around that particular series. I've talked about this concept several times on my channel when it comes to blog posts, but it's really relevant when we take a look at the Money Guy here, because the Money Guy Show here, you can see, has average net worth by age in 2021, average 401k balance by age, average net worth by age, how to invest your money in 2020. They're clearly just respinning this content over and over again because they've seen that this content is the sort of content that people are commonly searching for on YouTube. Similarly, if you're creating a blog post on your blog and you notice that something pops and that you can create 5, 10, 15, 20 more pieces of content similar to that one in the same theme of content style, then you should go ahead and double down on that piece of content. The next thing we can do though, aside from taking a look at their overall series, is take a look at the sort of long tail questions that they are often answering for folks. So going back into YouTube and going to the video section, what you can see is that they are going after some common queries that people have around their money. They're asking things like, are the doomsdayers right about 2022? And that is a current news topic that's always going to be interesting to people that are following the markets. Similarly, they are answering things like how to increase your net worth or how to prepare for a market crash. And these are the sorts of questions that people are going to be typing into Google on a regular basis. Let's take, for example, one of these and see whether or not we can see a Google autocomplete for this phrase. How to increase your Yep, and you can see right here that you not only see that phrase, but you also see it specific to different age groups. And that makes sense because what we saw earlier was that the Money Guy Show made a similar series when it came to average net worth by age in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s and so on. So right off the bat, you can tell that they are using an autocomplete method to Google when it comes to how to title their videos. They also might be covering something like, is it better to rent than buy? So you can see here that this is similar to that one, and they're just doing this over and over again. They're answering commonly asked questions in their niche that people are going to be searching for. And this is a tactic that I have shown you over and over again. If you want to create value, especially in a content business, one of the best ways you can do so is think about 80% of the most commonly asked questions around your particular niche, and then create content around that and try to make it more helpful than anything else that exists out there. And that's exactly what the Money Guy Show has done over and over again. And you can see that it works because all of these videos are getting thousands of views as a whole. And as a channel, if we just go ahead and go to their stats, what you can see is that they get about 1.5 million views every single month. And I don't know about you, but that's a lot of views, especially when you're in the finance niche. And what you can tell is that the reason why they're able to do so is because they're just producing so much content. They've got 51 published videos in just the month alone. In the last 6 months, they've released 310 videos. So they're clearly taking a strategy where they are producing a ton of content and then placing their bets in as many places as possible. And that leads us to the third thing about the Money Guy Show that we can learn, which is when you are making a choice between quality and quantity, It's up to you which way you want to go, but just stick to that strategy. And in this case, the Money Guy Show is a clear example of how they're taking the quantity approach, because they are releasing anywhere from 40 to 50 videos every single month on a consistent basis. And clearly it's working for them, because their long tail strategy, coupled with all of their other existing content videos in their library, has created a flywheel effect of viewership that you can see through the 1.5 million views that we've seen in the last month. Before we dig into the monetization methods of the Money Guy Show, if you're getting value out of this video, hit that like button below so that more people can find this video too. So now that we have a better understanding of exactly how the Money Guy Show is creating content, let's take a look at how they're monetizing their website. To do so, we need to visit their website, and when we do so, we land on this page, in which what you can see is that they've got a few different offerings in terms of their courses. They've got a financial order of operations course, which they sell for $249, and they've got a net worth tool for $29. This is a really effective strategy, because what they're doing is they effectively have a low ticket offer on the left-hand side, which is to get you into their ecosystem, and then they've got a higher ticket offer with the $249 course on the right-hand side. So this is a good way for them to capture the different sorts of viewers, both the ones that have the means to pay for the full course, as well as the ones that might just be wanting to either support them or just get into learning a little bit more about the products that they have to offer. The next thing we can do is we can take a look at their website, The Money Guy Show. And what you can tell here is that they're essentially reposting the videos that they have already released with some other content embedded, so that they can try to rank for those particular phrases. And then as we start to look on the section in their navigation, you can learn more about them here, where they've got their course, they've got their net worth tool, questions, as well as a Work With Us tab. And the Work With Us tab is where you'll see that this is where they sell their general financial services. So this is where you can get in touch with them, and then from there you can have them manage your money in the case where you don't want to do it yourself. So it's really nice to see that they have a few different forms of revenue here. And then the other nice thing is just seeing the different offerings that they have here. If we just go ahead and take a really conservative approach and assume that 0.1% of their entire viewership has bought this financial order of operations course, what that means is that 200 or so people have done so, and at a price point of $249, that means that they've brought in an additional 50 grand or so of revenue to their business. But of course, that number changes based off their conversion rates. So in the case where they're even more effective at selling that course, perhaps for example, they sell half a percentage point of their entire viewership, that means 1,000 people have bought that course, which would mean that they're generating around $249,000 from their course alone. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. They also have their financial services, they have their ad revenue, which includes the finance CPM space, and all the different ways that they are making money on their site. So it should come as no surprise that they have been very successful over the years with their consistency in content creation. And if we really want to see their consistency over time, the best way to take a look at that is really just seeing how long they've been creating content. And you can see that this has not been a fast process for them. They have been creating content for pretty much 4 years straight, consistently answering questions that people are often asking, and continuing to snowball their content on and on and on. And at this point in time, if we just go ahead and search for The Money Guy Show, what we can see is that they have 1,521 videos. So that's crazy. That's something in which what that means is that on an annual basis, they've been releasing 380 videos every single year for the last 4 years or so of their channel. What you can take away from The Money Guy Show is that you don't need to have the biggest channel in the world in order to be able to monetize your passion. In this situation, you've got two guys who really love what they talk about, and they created a show for themselves in which they've established a core viewership, as well as answered a ton of questions that people are having in their space. And from there, they generate a ton of value, they get a ton of leads for their business, and then they also give different ways for their viewers to immerse themselves further in the relationship with them as a product. If you learned something new today about The Money Guy Show, or just the creator economy in general, hit that like button, subscribe for more content like this, and then check out my video over here where I dig into 3 marketing channels on YouTube that are also seeing success in monetizing online.